Welcome to day 14 of positioning ourselves for our best year yet and unlocking the keys to our success. And if you've been enjoying this journey thus far, all I ask is two things. One, go ahead and press subscribe. And two, share this message with someone else. And today we're going to be discussing mastering the things that we can control. And yesterday we talked about the things that we cannot do on our own and using the great help of the Holy Spirit. But today we're going to discuss the power of self-discipline and mastering the things that we have control of, the things that He calls us to do. And self-discipline is simply this. It's the ability to do what you should do, when you should do it, whether you feel like it or not. That's what self-discipline is. So here are a few things that I want to share when it comes to mastering the things that are within our control and the things that we want to discipline ourselves to do. The first thing is the habit of saying no to the path of the least resistance. And so this means saying no to what's easy and start saying yes to what's necessary, to what's essential to your development. Matthew 7:13-14 tells us, "Enter by the narrow gate, for the gate is wide and the way is easy that leads to destruction. And those who enter by it are many. For the gate is narrow and the way is hard that leads to life, and those who find it are few." It's always the narrow path that leads to growth. Everyone is not willing to do what is necessary to get to where it is that they want to go. But you're different because you're set apart, and you're going to discipline yourself this year to get into the habit of saying no to the path of the least resistance, basically taking the easy road. You want to take the road that's set apart. The narrow road also leads to the heavenly gates. And the second thing is to discipline ourselves to get into the habit of being comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that means getting outside of our comfort zone, continuously finding ways to grow and to stretch ourselves and to expose ourselves to new information, to new environments, to new people. Most of our growth takes place right outside of our comfort zone. When God is usually taking us to our next dimension, it's usually outside of the dimension of where we presently are and what we're presently comfortable with. And the third area of discipline that we can control is embracing delayed gratification. And that means that realizing that there's certain things that I'm going to have to say no to in the short term for my long-term benefit. So if you think about, the medical field or medical doctors, where they have to go to school for, I think it's 16 years or so before they're fully, licensed and able to practice independently. And so they had to sacrifice for 16 years. So that meant that they had to say no to some parties, no to some engagements. They had to miss out on some things that maybe everyone else was enjoying at the time for the long-term benefit that they know that they're going to receive. But I have to ultimately sacrifice some things now so that I can have what I desire in the long run. So certain things take time, and certain things we have to ultimately sacrifice now in order to have what we want in the future. And the fourth area of discipline that we can master is mastering paying the price of admission. Because everything great requires a price to be paid. So even when we talk about the great gift of salvation, it did not come without a price. It did not come without a sacrifice. So even though it's a free gift that you and I have, that we can enjoy, Jesus paid the cost or the price of admission. And it was a great cost that he had to pay in order to give us the free gift of salvation. So we have to get into the habit of paying the price of admission. And so sometimes, that means, again, doing things that we don't necessarily prefer to do. So let's just say if we say, I don't really like to read, but God says, hey, I have some promises in my word that you can stand on. I have some plans, that I have for you. But if you say, hey, I'm really not a reader, and you don't pay the price, pay the cost of tapping into what he has, of making yourself into a reader, picking up the word to read, then you're missing out. But when it comes, again, to the cost of admission, if I need to begin training or reprogramming my mind to discipline myself to start watching more materials that I can learn from, to make myself into a reader, there's certain things that we have to develop ourselves into that are outside of our preferences. That's if we want to truly maximize our potential. So it's not just about, our preferences. We have to pay the price and pay the cost of admission. So in order to be your best, you have to be willing to pay the price and sacrifice, because anything great requires sacrifice. Here are the action items for today. 1, ask yourself, what is it that I need to do that requires me to get outside of my comfort zone that I keep putting off doing? 2, what's something that isn't my thing or that I prefer not to do, but that I need to do in order to get to the next dimension and the next level? So for me, I know that one of the things that I don't prefer is to record or to create content, take pictures, record this, record that. But if I want to help be of greater impact to people, help to pour into people, share the information that I've been given, but I don't want to create content, then how am I going to get to the next dimension of being able to impact people if I'm not willing to get outside of doing what I'm comfortable with, and or if I'm not willing to grow into or grow beyond what I prefer to do? So those are the 2 questions that we have to ask ourselves. And I'll leave you with this quote. Successful people make it a habit of doing the things that unsuccessful people don't like to do. So let me say it another way. High achievers make it a habit of doing things that average achievers don't like to do. Because high achievers know that they have to do what is necessary, not what's easy, not what's always comfortable, but they do what's necessary. So if you and I are going to maximize our year and maximize our potential, it starts with us taking the first step. It starts with us mastering the things and doing the things that are within our control. And it also requires us to rely on Him to lead the way, and the things that we cannot control, we rely on God and the Holy Spirit to ultimately provide and to deal with the things that we cannot control. but we have to control what we can control, and he will do the rest. So if you've enjoyed this video, all I ask is two things. One, subscribe, and two, share this video with someone else.